My birthday is on August 10th, and I just turned 14. On this special day, I was visiting two of my closest friends just a few blocks away when one of them burst in with exciting news. The horse had escaped from the pen in the backyard. Back in the day, you could keep livestock in town, as the county population was just over 8,000, and the town had a population of only 1,200. So, we all set out to catch the runaway horse. To our surprise, it had wandered into a wild and overgrown lot behind the alley. Undeterred, we began hacking away at the tall weeds and wild corn. I was moving quickly when I suddenly stepped into the back end of the horse. The horse let out a loud squeal, jumped forward, and hunched up. I thought it was going to kick me, so I grabbed its tail, forgetting that in order to control a horse, you must have a tight grip on its tail. But I was too late, and the tail slipped through my fingers. I was sent flying through the air and landed on my back. But strangely enough, I didn't feel any pain. My friends, who were identical twins, raced through the weeds and discovered a body lying on the ground. As one of the few people in town who could tell the twins apart, I followed them as they carried the body to their house. They were completely uninterested in me, and that irked me. So I grabbed one of my friends by the shoulder, but my hand passed right through him. We entered the kitchen, and the door slammed shut, passing right through me. That was pretty shocking, let me tell you. When my mom told me to gather my friends for a party, I had a feeling that something was off, but before I could think about it, I found myself in the living room with my friends, placing the body on the couch. To my horror, I saw that the belt buckle was practically smashed, and upon closer inspection, I realized it was my belt buckle. What was going on? I had never seen anyone like that before. And then I realized it was me. We never see ourselves as others do, even in photographs. Suddenly, a thin silver cord appeared, running from the body's pit of the stomach to mine. I realized that I could leave the house just by thinking about it. My friend's mother checked the body and exclaimed, "He isn't breathing." My friend picked up the phone and called the doctor, but nobody in the house knew how to perform artificial respiration. Strange things were starting to happen, and I couldn't help but feel that this was just the beginning. As I yearned for the great outdoors, I suddenly found myself transported to the kitchen, where Mom was mixing up the batter for my birthday celebration. My heart sank at the thought of missing my own party. But then I remembered my dad, who was working at the railroad depot 2 miles away. With a mere thought, I appeared before him, startling him with my sudden appearance. He peered right through me and whispered, "That's strange," before turning back to his work. As I explored the town, I noticed ghostly figures wandering aimlessly, completely ignoring the bustling activity around them. I couldn't help but feel as though I was being restrained, trapped within my own body. The world around me seemed to shrink, and I was suddenly plunged into darkness. The room spun, and I felt a powerful vibration within me, as if I were being dissolved. But then, as suddenly as it started, the darkness lifted, and I found myself standing on something solid, although I couldn't see what it was. I was dressed in finery, a stark contrast to my usual t-shirt and jeans. So this is it, I thought. I must have passed on. This is what happens when you die. As I stood there, surrounded by nothingness, I couldn't help but feel bewildered and lost. Suddenly, I noticed a faint glimmer in the distance. It appeared to be getting closer and closer, growing larger as it approached. In no time, the light had taken the form of a person, and I could see a figure inside, emitting a warm and comforting aura. "Child, do not be afraid. We will not cause you any harm." A soothing voice spoke to me telepathically, which struck me as unusual. I couldn't help but wonder what this being meant by child. With curiosity getting the best of me, I replied telepathically, "What do you have to show me?" The being seemed to be composed of 2 entities, and I'll refer to them as they from now on. In an instant, images flooded my mind, so vivid and real that I couldn't put them into words. They surrounded me on all sides, depicting every thought, emotion, action, and word that I had ever experienced. I could see the connections between them, the consequences of each thought, word, and action. It was as if all the choices I had made in my life were playing out in front of me. I went through each of these situations for a second time, and I realized that this was all happening simultaneously. Our brain can only hold one conscious thought at a time. But in this moment, I was experiencing an overwhelming amount of information and emotions. The beings pointed out the mistakes I had made in my life, not in a judgmental manner, but rather as simple errors that I could learn from. Many of my thoughts and actions had manifest as tangible objects, and I could see the impact they had had on the world. This experience was both humbling and enlightening, and I felt grateful for the being's presence and guidance. The being of light spoke of other things too, things that would benefit me and others in ways I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't help but wonder what the catch was, but their broad, gentle amusement let me know that I was worrying for nothing. Time seemed to stand still as they spoke, but in an instant it was over. I had to ask, "Who are you?" I couldn't help but feel that they weren't Jesus, for they didn't resemble him in the slightest. They simply replied, "Child, we are who Jesus referred to as my Father." It was an answer that caught me off guard, and I could sense their surprise at my question. "You're here before your time," they explained. "This is an accident, and your physical body is meant to be a vessel for you to learn and care for others, to gain knowledge and experience. Your thoughts have the power to manifest into physical things, but it's a double-edged sword. You have to have strong emotion to make them a reality, and with great power comes great responsibility. Do you really want what you imagine? Can you visualize acceptance or only feel it? Can you imagine love or only experience it?" The beings of light posed a lot of thought-provoking questions, and I couldn't help but feel that there was so much more for me to learn. They asked me, "Do you want to stay or do you want to go?" That place was filled with complete acceptance and unconditional love, and I felt that if I stayed, everything would change for the better. I had the option to stay, but before I could even make a decision, I was yanked back into my physical body. I was standing in the corner of a friend's living room, watching as a doctor prepared a hypodermic needle. He plunged it into the body's chest, and I was suddenly back inside, gasping for breath and writhing in pain. It was a shock to my system, but I couldn't shake the feeling that my encounter with the beings of light was far from over. The vivid memories of a traumatic event came back to me after taking ESD and attending Silva Mind Control Basic and Advanced Training. I tried to share the details with the doctor who had checked me over, but he dismissed my claims and asked everyone to leave the room as he conducted more tests. As it turned out, the doctor was an accomplished hypnotist and had given me a shot of sodium pentacle, also known as truth serum. The truth serum was a highly effective hypnotic, but the doctor had programmed me not to recall the events consciously until it was safe to do so. With the growing interest in near-death experiences in the 1970s, I finally uncovered the truth about the shot in 1971 and confirmed it by checking my medical records. The idea that you'll get what you think with emotion is key. As Job said in the Bible, "That which I feared has come to pass." This means that if you're aware of how you got into certain situations and work to find a way out, everything will be fine. The Bible teaches us that our thoughts and emotions play a huge role in shaping our experiences and reality. If our thoughts are beneficial and our emotions are supportive, the outcomes will be positive. On the other hand, if our thoughts are harmful and our emotions are negative, the outcomes will be negative as well. In short, the lesson to be learned is that our thoughts and emotions have a powerful impact on our lives and experiences. Understanding this concept and using it to our advantage can lead to a happier, more fulfilling life. Listen to the everyone. The power of our thoughts and emotions is immense and can shape our reality. It's important to be mindful of the thoughts and emotions we hold, as they can either benefit or harm us. The story of the truth serum and the doctor's hypnotic programming serves as a reminder of this fact. Remember, you'll get what you think with emotion. So choose wisely, focus on positive and beneficial thoughts, and cultivate emotions that support your goals and well-being.